they say that people that have a purpose live 7 to 10 years longer than those that don't. And I think some people don't know how to get started. But the old line about, eat an elephant one bite at a time, or a marathon or something, it starts with one step and then you take two steps and so forth, all those cliches, but they're true. So it's fun. And we have a big company in this town everybody knows called Boeing. And it's pretty much been documented over time. The people that work there 40 or 50 years, from 20 to 60, they retire. And 6 months to a year later, they're dead because they don't have any purpose anymore. So, but just shift your purpose, do something different, do something new. So anyway, but I think that having an attitude of gratitude really helps you with your purpose as well.
So how do you help people that are lost in their purpose find their purpose?
I think it starts with, I'm a big fan of, I have Jack written on here and on taking notes, and that's why I don't do the PowerPoint thing. I really like a lot of writing things, but I have really different exercises about things that you always like. Let's make a list of all the things you wanted to do in your life that you haven't done yet, and that's one thing. And then figure out, what did you want to be when you grew up, and what would be something you could do all day long and you wouldn't get paid for it and you wouldn't care because you like it so much, or that you do all. So I try to ask a lot of those questions. So then they come up with those lists, and they say, now put them in order of priority. What's number one down to number five? Okay, so let's go to number one. What you could do about that right now to start working towards that? And maybe I always wanted to do volunteer work or something. So is there a homeless shelter or a church or a Goodwill or a food bank or something near you? Yes. Once you're going to go there tomorrow and help them out and sign up, great. So start having actions and that type of thing. So all of that will lead you to purpose. I love the one, what I wanted to be when I grew up, because so many people never do that, and it's like, I was at would have been 1969. I was a freshman at the University of Washington here in Seattle, and I had a teacher from high school ask me to come to his class, at senior class at another high school, and do a 30-minute talk on what it's going to take to be successful. So I did the talk. I remember drinking water. I was all kind of nervous and stuff. And I walked in and got in my car after it was done, and I thought, that's what I want to be when I grow up, is a motivational speaker. And that was 1969. So it wasn't until 2013 that I actually acted on it. So knowing what that is when you wanted to grow up or those kind of things is really cool, because it's never, I started all over again at 63. And Jack, most all of my friends are all retired or semi-retired. And how come you're still working? I said, I'm going to work forever. I said, I love what I do. I get to inspire people and motivate people. I'm going to do it forever. And I realized something about purpose. Not totally, but a lot of what we talk to about our friends and neighbors and different things is what we do for a living. It's just part of the thing. So when you don't have that anymore, half of it is gone. And some of them, they just want to talk about their golf scores or what a great coffee they had at Starbucks or whatever, which is fine. But it's really fun to stay connected with people that are really living their purpose, or at least trying to find it.
Gosh, David, I think it's absolutely amazing that you went after what you wanted at 63, the age that most people want to retire. They're
Right.
done. They're burnt out of the workforce. You said, you know what? I'm going to go follow my dreams from when I was a kid.
Right.
I recently interviewed my dad on my
Mhm.
podcast. The episode actually came out yesterday. And for a while, he didn't do what he wanted to do. He didn't follow his passion. And at 43 years old, he said, you know what? F it. I'm going to be an artist. I want to be an artist. I'm going to start
Wow.
painting. That's going to be my thing. And that's his thing now.
That's
I
fantastic.
am I'm so inspired by people who have found what they want to do and went after that at an older age, because that's really uncommon. I think
Yeah.
our society pushes people to find out what they want to do, funnel them into a certain path at the ages of 18, 19, 20, and you're supposed to do that for the
Exactly.
rest of your life. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
No, it's
super
right. In fact,
inspiring.
one of my heroes is Colonel Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken. And do you know how old he was when he started that?
He was in his 60s, right?
63. Same age as when I went and did mine. So he's always been one of my heroes. There's been other ones that were very much later in life. Mary Kay Ash for cosmetics was 55. J.C. Penney was 54. Ray Kroc was like 57 when he bought the McDonald's franchise in Sacramento, I think it was, in California, and started McDonald's. And so, yeah, and it's just, and another thing too, especially from somebody that is as young as you are compared to how long I've been on the planet, you hear people say this to you about how life goes by so fast, and you kind of dismiss it. And, oh, look, Jack, last time I saw you, you were this high. Now you're this high. And we all went through that. But whatever those people said, it was right. I mean, I literally, I'll say it again, that I seriously cannot accept the fact that I'm 75. First of all, I don't feel like it, but I go, I've lived on this planet 75 years. It just goes by so fast. And so everybody said so. So it's true. So like your dad, better late than never. And so good for him. And even if it's 43 or 63 or any of those things, for doing it, because there's just nothing sadder than, I mean, like my other brother that passed away last year, he worked at Boeing coincidentally. And I remember when he went to work there 30 or 40 years ago, he says, I met guys when I first came in there that were there 20 or 30 years. I'll never be here this long. And he was there that long. And then unfortunately he got cancer. Then he passed away. Never really got a chance to have anything to retire. But this whole concept of how when you lose your purpose is really tough on your brain. And I think another thing I'll give credit for, not so much social media, but technology. And I am all over technology. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm using AI all the time now and everything that I do in my work. And I remember telling Connor and Kyle, my two sons, about 10 or 15 years ago, I said, I'm going to tell you something right now. Your dad is never going to be left behind. You're never going to say to me, well, do you want to get us up on TikTok? What's TikTok? What's an email? I said, that'll never happen. And now with an AI, we could do a whole podcast on that. It's just started to scratch the surface. It may be the biggest thing that we ever experience with what's happening with technology. And then there's been amazing things from the cell phone, the internet, etc. But AI is just going to rock a lot of worlds.
It sure is. It's crazy, the changes that we see happening. I think, is it hard to adjust to?
It isn't for me, but I think part of it is because I've always been really motivated. And when I said at 19 I wanted to be a motivational speaker, one of the things that this comes to mind for some reason. So one of the things I do, I have this whole very specific when I coaching clients, the power hour, the thing you do, the first thing in the morning is an example. You get up, I make my bed, I go and I turn on the coffee machine, I drink the first of 4 quarts of water, which is a gallon of water, go take my shower, go in and stretch, put my clothes on, come back in here, meditate for 15 minutes, write in the gratitude journal for 5 or 10 minutes, then go get my coffee, then I turn on the laptop, turn on the devices. So I'm very disciplined about that. But it all depends on how you look at it. And that's how before anything is, I don't even look at the phone until then because I don't want to get sidetracked. And so it does require a level of discipline, as we were talking earlier. But the thing that I'm proud of is every single day I walk 8 miles. And it takes me 2 hours and 15 minutes. And so it's just like an appointment. Today it'll be 3:30 or 4 till 6. I've got to meet a friend for lunch, and I got to do some errands, and I got to do work on the computer this afternoon, then I'll hit the walk and so forth. And people say, oh, I would never have that time. I said, wait a minute, let me ask you something here. I said, so let's say you get up at 6 and you stop your day at 6 or 7 and 7, whatever. That's 12 hours. So you walk for 2 hours. That's just me. I've got 10 hours to do the rest of what I need to do. So it just depends on how disciplined you could be. So, and that's why I think also as a coach and even as a speaker too, it's so important to me. I've said for years, I've managed a lot of people. I figured out once that I managed like 10,000 people in all these stores that sometimes would have 300 or 400 employees. Yeah, they were big stores. And so I said to a group once, I said, I think, and now that I've raised 2 children and through tough circumstances with Dana passing away and managed all these people, I said, I think those 2 skill sets require the same thing. You have to set a great example. So how could I look at Jack and not say and show him right there Thursday 2/13/25, and you could see everything. There's a template and everything I'm written up in here. It says back in Seattle because I was in Phoenix for 3 days, and then here's the current events, special occasions, and it says back from Phoenix, lunch with Jason Lucas, and so forth. And then, as I said, down at the bottom, this is everything I'm grateful for here. And then here is the highlight of my day. That's where Jack Wagoner is going to be tomorrow as one of the highlights from Thursday, the 13th. And this is the gratitude intentions. That's all the things I'm going to be grateful for that haven't even happened, which is a very, very cool thing. And so, point being is, if you set a good example, it's much easier to manage or coach or inspire people if you're walking the walk.
You just finished watching a clip from the Grateful Podcast episode with David George Brooke, that gratitude guy. Go check out the full episode right here if you enjoyed. It's right here. Click it. Right there.